What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Eileen, the new psychological thriller film from William Oldroyd, starring Anne Hathaway and Thomasin McKenzie. Eileen debuted back at Sundance earlier this year and is now out in release. William Oldroyd, of course, not the most esteemed director per se, but famously his last film, Lady Macbeth, was the source of the breakout role for Miss Florence Pugh. And Eileen is adapted from the 2015 novel of the same name by Ottessa Moshfegh. And Eileen, I think this is a movie that I didn't love. I don't even know if I liked it that much, but I appreciate it for what it is. It is a kind of classic, kind of old school thriller, a bit small in scope, but also svelte in a nice way. It's a pretty brief movie, only about 97 minutes, and has some fun performances in it, has a fun twist at the end, and is a decent watch, even if ultimately for me, some of the twists, some of the tonal shifts didn't quite land for me. So Eileen, it's, set in 1960s, Massachusetts area, and Thomasin McKenzie, as a young woman, is playing the titular Eileen, and Eileen is working at a juvenile detention facility. She's pretty aimless and bored in her life. She doesn't seem to get a lot of attention from her coworkers or people in town. She's really just kind of viewed as an extension of her alcoholic former cop father, played by Shea Whigham. And yeah, she just kind of seems a bit kind of at loss with what to do with herself. And things change in her life when a new physician shows up at the juvenile detention facility that she works at, Rebecca, played by Anne Hathaway. And this is one of those great textbook Anne Hathaway performances. She has the big blonde blowout, but she's having a real fun time in this role. Flashy, charismatic, and Rebecca seems to take kind of a liking to Eileen as, a new person in town. She develops some sort of a friendship with Eileen. And Thomasin McKenzie, this is pretty familiar stuff for her at this point, kind of playing the wounded bird, wallflower type young woman that she's done a few times to great effect already. Of course, people probably best know this from Last Night in Soho or Leave No Trace. And I think Thomasin McKenzie, she's a good actor. I would like her to maybe get out of this box and find a different type of thing to do, at least a little bit. And Eileen gives her a little bit to do at times, but the overall characterization, I was immediately kind of annoyed with how familiar it felt from having knowledge of her past work. That's not necessarily the fault of Eileen, but it felt a little safe from a choice from a rising young actress such as herself. Nonetheless, I think it's funny because this is a psychological thriller film that kind of leans into some psychosexual stuff. But to me, that was some of the most inconsistent stuff with the movie, especially because a lot of it's kind of drop. I don't know. I think ultimately, Eileen just a bit thin with where it's trying to lead you as the viewer with the just kind of the tonal sensibilities of the movie. And on the surface, there's a lot of things to enjoy about it. I think Shea Whigham, the gruffness he brings as this really kind of degenerate alcoholic and shitty dad, he does a great job in the movie. And also Marin Ireland does a I think really fantastic job as Mrs. Polk, who is the mother of a young man recently brought to the facility. And there's a scene in Act 3 between McKenzie, Hathaway, and Ireland that is really strong. Definitely a big kind of eyebrow raiser, gasp-inducing twist with this movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but that was something that I didn't quite see coming, but also presents a huge shift for the movie and what you thought you were watching. And I don't know if it to me was kind of resolved a bit too cleanly or a bit too quickly, I guess you could say. So I don't know, Eileen, it's just I appreciate the attempt, but I found the movie to be a bit of a challenge until the twist happened, and then I just didn't think we had enough time with the twist. And as much as I enjoy a period film that doesn't have cell phones, and you just kind of have a movie star performance from someone like Hathaway at the center of the movie, I just don't think it completely comes together to really kind of rise above the skeleton of what the movie is, which is kind of a mismatch of tone and structural like challenges with the twists. So yeah, Eileen, I think it's an okay watch, but to me, I wasn't grabbed enough to really endorse it, and I was kind of a bit let down because this was one of the most like hyped movies out of Sundance, to be honest. Nonetheless, better days are ahead, I think, for all involved. But yeah, let me know how'd you feel about Eileen. Did you like it more than me? And for more movie reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.